Kevin Schnall is entering his 22nd season on the coaching staff at Coastal Carolina and his first as head coach. Please give him and his staff a very warm welcome, Kevin Schnall.
It's a hell of a crowd. And we got campers, we got climbers. Great to see this state's filled with a bunch of climbers. Excuse my voice, talk about that later. But first thing I want to start with is any 2024 state champion head coaches here, please stand up. Only guy, Hux. We'll give your whole staff the hats, brother. Congratulations. It's a pleasure to be here. We love to share what we do. It's not the only way, it's just our way. But hopefully we can provide you guys some takeaway. I vividly remember as a young coach sitting in those seats right there, thinking to myself, man, how the hell do I get on that stage? And that's also our hope, is to inspire some of you young guys to want to get on this stage. It's an honor. We're thankful. We never take these opportunities for granted. As Nick said, I'm Kevin Schnall. It's amazing to say that I'm embarking on my 25th year as a college baseball coach. My first as the head coach. Let me see a raise of hands if you're an assistant coach. It took me 24 years to get here. Right? It took this guy, and I'm not comparing myself to a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? But it took this guy 23 years until he stepped into a role as a head coach. The biggest advice I could give you as a longtime assistant coach is eliminate this from your life. I'm joking. The biggest advice I could give you guys is focus on your craft, not your title. Focus on being the best assistant baseball coach, best mentor, best leader that you can possibly be. Ask yourself regularly, what separates me? What separates me? Ultimately, show up today and work harder than you did yesterday. And eventually, someone will take notice. The bottom line, if every college baseball coach worked extremely hard, I probably don't have this job. And the secret is showing up every single day, overly prepared, with more juice than everybody else. Energy is always your edge. All you head coaches, my advice to you is the same. Stop watching Netflix. Right? I'm joking, but I'm being serious. Like literally, if you're watching 3 series at one time, you got issues. Okay? You got issues. Okay? But my advice to you as a head coach is this right here. Don't be a one-tack guy. That's easy. That's what everybody does. They put one tack, that's what everybody does. That's the norm. Winning baseball games, inspiring kids is hard. Always choose hard. As the head coach, guys, I'm in the seat now. I see it, right? We are the standard. And if we're going to hold other people to the standard, we got to hold ourselves first. We have to model it first. I don't want to say this and offend anybody. Hopefully you guys take this constructively. But if you're that guy that has to constantly open up his resume, if you're that guy that has to constantly tell his parents and his players how many wins you have, how many championships you have, you're not as relevant or respected as you might think. Challenge yourself to say we and us way more than you say I and me. Catch yourself. Challenge yourself to be a little more open-minded. Allow yourself to see things you've always seen one way differently. You might be pleasantly surprised how much better it may look. First thing that we had to do in June, Coach Gilmore finally retires. First thing that we have to do is we have to assemble a staff. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. We're very fortunate at Coastal Carolina to have an athletic administration and university that backs baseball at the extreme highest level. That's enabled us to assemble an elite coaching staff. This coaching staff that we have at Coastal Carolina right now would rival any college Division I baseball coaching staff in the entire country. I stand before you and say that extremely confidently because I believe that. When it comes to hiring a coaching staff, there's 3 characteristics that we're looking for. Outside of the obvious, you got to be able to coach, you got to be able to teach, you've got to be able to inspire. The first characteristic trait we're looking for is loyalty, no drama. Your culture is extremely hard to build, but remarkably easy to tear down. It happens all the time, guys. I've been coaching for 25 years. Coaching staff members backstabbing each other, talking negatively behind each other's backs will tear down your culture quicker than anything else. The expectations and standards of Coastal Carolina are very clear. If you have an issue with another staff member, look that staff member in the eye and discuss it. No drama. We're all in this together. We must eliminate divide. No jealousy. No jealousy. Because that's typically what starts. Jealousy. We win together, we lose together. The second characteristic trait we're looking for is honesty. You can't have a meaningful relationship in this world without honesty. What's honesty? Does your yes mean yes? Do your no's mean no? Are you somebody that we can trust? And the third characteristic trait we're looking for is accessibility. It's amazing. It almost seems like this is the hardest one to find anymore. Simply answer your phone. It's in your pocket. Respond to a text message. Reply to an email. That's not optional. It's mandatory. Communication is a vital component to our success, and every staff member must adhere to those standards. These 3 characteristic traits, loyalty, honesty, accessibility, are non-negotiable. Surrounding yourself with people that possess these qualities will help lead you to success. Okay? These 3 words right here are the cornerstone of everything that we do. We believe that our attention to detail at Coastal Carolina is what sets us apart. These 3 words are really easy to say, much more difficult to execute day after day. Take a look at these pictures. Some of you guys might be thinking to yourself, the picture on the left is fine. It's okay. But the underlying message here is no details too small. Everything matters. There's no little things. And this is one of the first things that we show our players and emphasize to them. Again, the picture on the left might look like it's acceptable, but the picture on the right, that's the exceptional standards that we set and expect. You know what the best thing about this? It takes no talent. It takes no talent. All it takes is a little extra effort. And extra effort is all about your mindset. And your mindset is all about the way you think. And the way you think is a choice. And as the leaders, it's our obligation to enforce the standards. It all starts at the top. It all starts at the top. And when we come to your place to play you, and we walk into your dugout, who are you? And lastly, for me, guys, as coaches, it should be everybody's goal to help your players succeed. Not only on the baseball field, but in life. And in this new chapter of Coastal Carolina, if that's what you call it, we have embraced this own it leadership philosophy. Own it defines Coastal Carolina baseball. These 2 words shape the way we lead, the way we win, the way we lose, the legacy that we're going to leave. These 2 words right here are simply a mindset. They're our culture. It's a commitment to personal responsibility and accountability. Own it demands every staff member, every player to fully embrace their role. Own it is simply owning your choices, your actions, and your results without excuses, shortcuts, and blame. Growth is very difficult without ownership. And a lack of ownership reflects a lack of self-discipline. And without discipline, success is impossible. Doing what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, the way it's supposed to be done. Period. Every single day. In closing for me, mirror time is very important. I would encourage you to get nose to nose with yourself, eyes to eyes with yourself on a regular basis, and ask yourself, can I get more out of that guy? Strive to be someone that someone wants to emulate. Set the example. Be the leader you want your son or daughter to have. Allow yourself to see things you've always seen one way differently. Again, it's not the only way. It's just Coastal's way. Wish you guys all the best in 2025. Appreciate your time. Pass the baton to Chad Oxendine, Associate Head Coach, Recruiting Coordinator.
Man, I was going to do I've been to the ABCA, probably don't need this, but ABCA where the guy, everybody stand up, right, give me 2 claps. We don't need that after that, right? I feel like I'm ready for a 9-round TKO fight after listening to Coach Schnall there. I'm blessed and honored to be on this stage. I played high school baseball here in the state of South Carolina. My son's in 2025. He plays baseball here in the state of South Carolina, North Myrtle Beach with Coach BA. And I just want you guys to know, man, I'm extremely blessed and honored to be here and excited to talk to South Carolina coaches, man. You guys are obviously vital, not only to us at Coastal Carolina, but to me as a dad and as a former baseball player here in the state as well. I think these guys only gave me about 20 minutes, and we had a bet on who was going longer. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this Get Better session. Our BP guys are no longer just BP. Okay, we don't just go out, yeah, all right, we're going to go 5 rounds of 5. Okay, and we'll show a little chaos here, and I get it. I hear it all the time. Hey, man, you got 12 coaches and 14 student managers. You got 38 machines. Like, I get it. I know we got machines, I know. Okay, Coach from Conley was talking earlier about some things like the Mac Pro. I made a joke to our pitching coach. I said, man, I'd get a Hack Junior, right? Instead of the Mac Pro, I'd invest in a Hack Junior ASAP. Okay, because that allows you to have that student manager or anyone that you can get to come out and help, right, to get this Get Better session moving. Okay, so obviously we talk about focus, energy, effort, and competitiveness. There's more than just batting practice. This is kind of just a small bit of our practice plan. Today we're going to talk about more of the, I know it's hard to see, but the batting practice rounds. Go 5 swings for 4 rounds. First one's going to be an execution round, and we'll walk through that here in a second. We'll talk about the grouping. We put our outfielders, infielders in certain groups, and then the base running and our defensive play. But if you do not have a practice plan, which I'm sure all of us don't, right? This is an easy way, guys, to get your guys on the same plan to know what's going on in practice every single day. It's kind of our setup for our hitters. And you can see our base runners out of second base. The number 1 hitter is live. Number 2 hitter is going to be on deck. He's working on timing. We get it all the time. Your guys come to camp. Coach, can I see one? Right, your guys come to camp. They want to take the first pitch. Right, but for us, we believe if you're on deck and you're working on your BP timing, then you should not take that 0-0 pitch. Right, you should not take that 0-0 pitch. Coach Schilling will address that here in a second. All right, then our third guy is going to be in a bunt station. Fourth guy is going to be on strike zone. Right, you get guys that take pitches, they don't know where the pitch is at, or they're swinging at bad pitches. Right, but we're going to have the fourth guy let them know, hey, that ball is down and away. Okay, that ball is down and away or wherever that pitch may be. And then our 5 guys, obviously in the off station, catching his breath, getting prepared to become that 4th station. Our BP process, just talking about, again, the 3 rounds are just 5 swings, whatever you want to do. Okay, if you want to work middle that day, for us, we work and talk about launch angle. We try to stay between 10 and 30 degrees. But our execution rounds are going to be hit and run, play the game, and eat it up. Obviously, you guys are aware of the hit and run. We try to go power ground ball to the opposite side. Play the game is going to be a ground ball behind the runner, trying to advance him to 3rd base. And eat it up for us is no matter what, man. Right? No matter what, you're trying to hit this ground ball to eat that run up to get that RBI. Just an example of the hit and run here. Power ground ball to the opposite side. Man on second, play the game. We work on this obviously every single day when we're doing our batting practice segment and our execution round. And then this last one, guys, man on third, less than 2 outs with the infield back. Just can't bow down a potential 1st rounder. And you can see the situation. It's 1-0 in the 1st inning. 2nd and 3rd, chokes up and just rolls over the ball. All right, team at bats. Again, this guy's a potential 1st rounder. He's not trying to hit a double here. He's trying to get us up 2-0. Okay? I talked about grouping earlier. Okay, just get creative with your design. Again, we're trying to get away from just the old 4 rounds of 5 BP. Okay, we want to try to get as many things accomplished in this batting practice as we possibly can. So for our grouping, we have our catchers in the 1st group with the 1st baseman. Right, our 2nd group is going to be all infielders. Our 3rd and 4th group are going to be outfielders. Okay, and I'll show you here in a second why we group our guys that way. During our BP process with our defense, okay, we talk about ready reps. Okay, so you'll see here in a second where we have a machine shooting to the outfielders. Well, our outfielders are not catching that ball until they do their prep step, our ready rep. Okay, so we really harp on being on time with our feet, whether it's live fungo or the machine. Right, 1st step, reacts, routes to the ball, handling the baseball cleanly. All this is going on during our BP defensive segment. Hopefully you guys can see this. This was a chart our analytics guy, Matt Pepin, put together for us. And you know, we talk about this a bunch, but you know, normally you get a fungo, and that ball is just spinning perfectly towards that left field. Okay? When Division I baseball last year, 77% of balls hit to left field had a right-handed slider ball. They were hook balls, like a right-handed slider. Same thing over here for the right fielder. Right fielders, 75% of the fly balls hit to our right fielder, they were left-handed sliders. Okay? So for us, we obviously take this data, and we're going to go, you see obviously our outfielders are in left field right here. We got student manager shooting right-handed slider, right, to our left fielder, because we are aware that 77% of the balls they catch, right, are going to be hooked. Okay? And again, guys in the past, all we do is shoot balls to them. Right? They got perfect backspin balls. They catching every single ball. Then we get in the state playoff game, right? And that ball's got a little hook, and we're wondering why he can't catch it. Okay, so every single day we're working on this, guys. Now we'll go from left to right. We'll mix it up depending upon the practice that day. This first round, they're doing no outs and no runner on. So they're just getting used to catching this baseball. Okay, after they go through this round a couple times, then we'll put a runner on. So now they got to set their feet, preparing to throw off this right-hand slide. During this segment, this is another reason why we put our first baseman in a different group. You see our first baseman over here on the half junior, just working on short hops, right? Working on picks. Again, you see the mass chaos, right? We talk about Coach Williams and I talk about, man, this looks crazy. But there's so many people out here on this field. But if you really zoom in, that the outfielders are getting balls, and I'll talk about this here in a second, but our guys at third base are working, third baseman on the infield, and then our first baseman are over here while the catchers are hitting. Infielders are getting ground balls with a purpose. On that practice plan, it'll let them know what they're going to do with that first round of ground balls, then the second round of ground balls. And again, you get creative. You can change that up however you want. But these two guys are shooting. The guy in the green is shooting to the shortstop. Shortstop's are feeding. And then you got a guy in the red shooting the third base and the second baseman here. At this time, the outfielders are in their position. You see the right fielder here. After their first round of getting it off the machine, then we play live off the bat. This is a chart I just wanted to throw in. Just to kind of show you guys. I've been at 5 different schools. I think this is my 19th year in college baseball. I've been at 5 different programs, with now working with 6 head coaches. And I get the question all the time, like, what is the secret at Coastal? Like, what is the difference at, at Coastal than where you've been? And in my opinion, there's a lot. Okay, obviously, we've got Myrtle Beach, we've got a fantastic facility, we could go on, right? But the one thing that pops in my mind are reps. Like, man, we get more reps than anyone in the country. And that is a guarantee. Okay, but this is kind of a chart that we keep for our infielders. This is 4 weeks in the fall. So you can see Ty Dooley is a shortstop, got 433 touches. Right? Blake Barthel, 462 touches. This is just ground balls every day for 4 weeks. Obviously, we're fortunate enough where we have, the analytical department and the student managers to be able to keep up with all this stuff. But you can obviously get a good feel of how many ground balls they're getting every single day. Coach Shewmaker is going to touch on this a little bit later, but we've got the catchers over here as well. The catchers are hitting in the first group. After they get done hitting, they're going in and get dressed, and then they're coming back out. They're going to work on their absolutes that day as well. Base running process during this time. And again, get creative. You can do whatever you want to do for us. We start out with our runners at third base. We're going to work on down contact. All right, it's game-like ready reps. Okay, so you should see in this video that I showed the timing and the flow of our guys. We don't want them to go secondary, pause, read, and then go. Okay, because this is going to happen in the game. This is going to be the difference between safer out in the game, and we're really working hard on our flow and timing of our secondary into the read. And then at second base, you can see, I'll show, we do a lot of different things at second base, but I'll show the 2-out 2K round where we're really working hard on our turns, right? Our turns at third base, and it's going to be a full, complete rep. We talk about putting our hands on the net as we come around. I'll show you that. That's just to help them not pull up, right? We don't want those guys to pull up, and we're trying to score, right? We're trying to score on this ball. That's a 2-out line drive right up the middle. So here I got highlighted in this corner at third base here. I just really want you guys to notice the timing and the flow, right? The timing and the flow. That ball is a line drive. You went back to tag. There should be no pausing in their flow. Right there is a great rep. And they're just reading these balls off the batter, off the live hitter right here. These are our guys at second base. Then this is our last round. We're going 2 strikes, 2 outs. They're scoring off the live hitter. And you can see they're putting both hands up on the net as they round third just to get that full rep. Last thing I got, again, I know it was complete chaos. I get it. But it's our get better section. Again, we worked on situational hitting. We got all our swings in. We had defense with a purpose. And then obviously game-like base running in what a lot of people say is just your BP. Okay, so I just challenge you to get creative, come up with a practice plan that's going to keep guys from having bread lines, right, and keep everybody moving and get game-like reps. I'll pass this over to Coach Schilling.
All right, guys, I'm going to get going. I know we got a lot to get through tonight. I'm going to talk on catching a little bit. catching the coastal way. So again, this is the way that we do it. This is where we feel like we can get better behind the plate. Hopefully you walk out of here understanding some stances and their importance, and also some pre-game work that you can take with you. The stance important. Okay, you're always going to hear me talk about what happens before the catch. I think the way that we pre-pitch and the way that we set up can help in presentation of the baseball once it hits the mid. So I'm always going to harp on that with our catchers. It impacts every part. Our job as coaches in this scenario is to put our catchers in the best position for what's happening. There's a lot of different stances that we can come up with, and you see that evolve on a daily basis in this game. I want to try to put our catchers in the best position for what's at hand, whether runners are on base or what type of hitters in the box, that sort of stuff. The stance is what we build around. So if we want to compare that, that's like the base of a truck. Okay, that's what you're going to build the whole truck around. Everything's built around how we set up behind the plate. Basic stance types that we're going to talk about. The one on the far side, that's a left knee down stance. So that's a traditional stance, nobody's on base. This next one over is a 2 feet throwing stance. So that's more your traditional stance that most of us were taught at an early age. Third one is a right knee down sprinter stance. So this would be a stance that is also like a traditional stance, but when he's in this is where he's set up to do multiple things, whether that be block, throw, but most importantly, receive. The biggest thing I will tell you is making sure that we can receive out of secondary stances with runners on base. We receive more than we do anything else. So that's always going to be king for us. We have to put our catchers in the best position to be able to receive, but also be able to do the other two big things where it's throwing and blocking. The far right one here, that's a right knee down split stance. So this would be a stance where nobody's on base. That's a stance where he's working on the low pitch. Not a stance that we're going to throw out of a lot. It's not a real mobile stance. But here we're just working on receiving, no runners on base. Again, we want to put our catchers in the position to do what's important in that pitch. Are there runners on base? What handedness is the hitter? I'll talk about that here in a second. That impacts what stance we're in if nobody's on base. Is there a run threat? Is the guy at first base a runner? Or is he a refrigerator that's not going to move? Because that can affect our stance, because now, instead of having to worry about receiving, throwing, and blocking, now it just becomes run block. We have to do really good blocks because that guy's a truck over there. He's not going to move unless the ball gets by us. And then, is there a runner on third base? At that stance, we're in goalie mode. Can't let that guy score. And the last thing on the mound is, does the pitcher need a big target? Do we have to target him big with a big chest? Do we want to work low? Is he a guy that needs the glove, or does he need both? That's where the catcher has to really know the pitcher and how to set up for each guy. So why do we want to change? Okay, why do we want to change the 2 feet stand traditional that we've seen for years? Why do we want to drop down guys to a knee? Well, again, if you look at a 1971 base frame to a 2021 and forward, they essentially look the same. All right, you put the stuff around them, both good trucks, both still run, right? But we want to know what's best now. All right, is that truck from 1971, does it still run? Yeah, it probably does. Is a 2021 model maybe a little bit better because we've evolved cars? Yeah, that's just part of technology and the way that we can evolve. Same thing with catching. The 2 feet traditional stance that we've seen for years still works. There's nothing wrong with it. But can we make it better? Can we drop down to a knee to be able to receive and see metrically that's helping our pitcher get more strikes in that scenario? So that's how we want to evolve the catching position to make it better. So basic stances, when to be in those stances. So I talked about hitter handedness. Left-handed hitter in the box, we want to be on our right knee. Always want to be opposite the hitter if nobody's on base. Why? Because the umpire's set up on the inside of that hitter. Okay, so if there's an umpire behind me and I'm a right-handed hitter in the box, I want to drop my left knee because he's looking straight down over that left knee. That takes away the bottom of the zone. He can no longer say, hey, the knees of the catcher are the bottom of the zone. But it also gives him a clear path to be able to call strikes and work on the glove action. Left knee down, low run threat. Okay, that dump truck's over there. We want to be able to block and receive. We're not worried as much about throwing. Also left knee down with no runner on base. Okay, if nobody's on base, we can be in that traditional tucked in tight. That's our most comfortable stance. Right knee down, higher run threat because we want to be in that sprinter stance, a little bit easier to throw out of a right knee down stance for most people. And then if it's 2 strikes, we can put that right knee down because now we're going to have to worry about blocking the breaking ball in the dirt. Okay, we don't want to give away pitches. So at the end of the day, if your catcher's better blocking out of the right knee down, 2 strikes go to right knee. Okay, again, we want to be able to receive out of those secondary type stances at a really high level. So it has to be trained. And then in the middle, what do they both do? We increase strike probability. Okay, typically when we drop down to a knee with most guys, they're a little bit more comfortable. We can get to the bottom of the zone a little bit better with our pre-pitch. We're giving ourselves a fighting stance behind the plate to increase strike probability. And then last thing, like I talked about, the bottom line in the umpire view is much clearer. How to get to a comfortable knee down stance. You might say, hey, my catcher doesn't know how to do it. Get him in 2 feet, say go block. Block, now tell him to raise his right foot. That's a left knee down stance. Block, put your left foot up. That's a right knee down stance. It's a really easy way to put them in a knee down stance because when they get to that blocking stance, they're going to be comfortable. That's a comfortable stance. Notice his chest doesn't come up a whole lot. His posture's already in a good position to have clearance of the left elbow to work around the knee. All right, so that's an easier way to say convert a guy that's always been on 2 feet to a knee down stance because he's going to get in a comfortable position. The chest is going to be over the plate. He doesn't have to lift up or feel uncomfortable. Really easy way to get to that stance. So again, we talk about pregame, a practice buffet. We want to train habits that we're using gameplay. So I'm going to give you guys some drill work that we would do on a daily basis to work on the big 3. The big 3 I call receiving, blocking, and throwing. Most times I call throwing transfer work because we throw every day as baseball players. When we get to catcher-specific work, that becomes transfer and footwork. Okay, we throw as baseball players every day. The catching-specific part of that becomes transfer and footwork. Okay, and again, these will be our absolutes. Like Coach Oxendine showed those guys on the side working, our guys will go through this on a daily basis, getting something in of the big 3, if not all 3. So here's a menu. Again, we can let our guys pick these. These are just some basic drills that we put down on a sheet and say, hey, you pick a couple that you like. And then this might be their pregame routine, their pre-practice routine, or just their absolutes on a daily basis. So we always want to cover receiving for sure on a daily basis. We do that more than anything else. And then we want to have a couple from block and a couple from transfer so we don't walk into a game without getting something in. Okay, and I'll show you some drills. All the drills that we're going to talk about today, you don't have to have a machine for, typically. Okay, and they can all be done with a coach pitch or a manager or just with teammates throwing it back and forth. So let's talk about some receiving drills from this buffet. This is an Indian club, okay? We use these on a daily basis. You can go on Amazon right now and buy one for 15 or 20 bucks. It's a great tool. It's something that we want to work on our glove path with and strengthen that forearm. So we want to fill that pre-pitch with the Indian club down, as you see the guy on the left-hand side, and we're working up through the zone. And as we end, it should be parallel to the ground. Notice the video on the right. That's, again, Caden Bodine, first rounder. All right, you can see how much the Indian club and the glove work exactly the same. You put them side by side, that's the same glove action he's working on a low pitch. All we're doing is strengthening the shoulder and the forearm and working on glove speed with that Indian club on a daily basis. Get 10 or 15 reps in on a daily basis. They're already going to build up some strength. Next one, this is a heavy ball flip. This is an 11-ounce ball. Not a ball we would shoot through a machine. But again, in order to increase strike probability, it talks about being on time with our glove and our pre-pitch and also glove speed. So all the time when we talk about people, swing coaches talk about swinging heavier bats or underload bats, we want to do that for the glove because we want to have glove speed in presentation after we catch the ball. So we want to overload the flips that we're doing. Notice again, they're on 2 knees. They're not worried about a stance right here. We're just getting it back and forth, working on that low pitch. Working up through the ball to presentation and glove speed. Again, not worried about where we're at in our stance. You can see they pre-pitch every time. Pocket stays towards the pitcher. A good presentation of the ball. Standing receiving. This can be done in daily catch play or in a drill setting. And all this is exactly what it says. You're throwing the ball back and forth. They're loading their glove like they would on a pre-pitch from a knee. And they're working to present everything like it's a strike. No matter where the pitch is, they're framing it as it is a strike. You can see his pre-pitch, he works that pitch right back up to the zone like it would be a pitch down in the zone. Around the world, so this is a 5-spot drill. So as you work, you're throwing crossfire. So you can see that as I'm flipping, I'm going in 5 spots, 2 on each side, 1 in the middle. So as I work around, I'm aiming at the opposite knee. Okay, so if I'm right here, I'm aiming for his left knee. I get straight up, I keep working around, now I'm going to his right knee. Okay, a good scenario here is he's having to cheat the location of the pitch. If we pre-pitch straight down for every pitch, we're not putting ourselves in the best position. A changeup from a righty is going to go different than a slider from a righty. They're going to go different directions. Our job as catchers is to cheat that, how that pitch is supposed to move. So he's cheating to where I'm throwing, again, 5 spots around the world. He's just working that glove load and presentation on all 5 of those. Knee to knee. So this is throwing it or shooting out a machine. This is just a baseball. All he's doing is every catch, he's switching knees. He's going left knee to right knee, left knee to right knee. And as a catcher, you can tell them, hey, move around. He wants to move inside or outside, make it glove side, make it extension. No matter what, this is on him. All you're doing as a coach right here is feed the machine. He's feeling comfortable in different stances. He's feeling the glove move in different directions. It keeps us from having to move it or worry about our flips. Hey, I'm just going to throw it right down the middle. You move where you feel like you need to move to, and then go knee to knee, switch up stances so you get comfortable moving to those. Side saddle drills. So this is an extension. So he's set up like he's presenting it back to that plate. It's off center. Okay, so the machine's still shooting directly where it was on that last slide, right down the middle. I shift the plate. Now he's working extension side, that slider that's bearing out of the zone to get around it, get that thumb to the outside to present it back to the middle. Glove side ball, he's cheating the glove down like it's a right-handed 2-seam, bearing it on his glove side. And now he's just working that thumb down, getting the thumb outside the ball to present it back to the plate. Again, a lot of times you'll see if the machine's right here, they'll present it back to you. No, we want to present it back to the plate. The whole purpose of this drill is getting that thumb outside the ball coming at us, being able to get through extension through, and the plate's going this way. That's why that plate's off center there, so they have that visual of where they're presenting the ball back to as they catch it. Short hop receiving, we can do this with mini mitts. This is with the normal glove. We're just working low ball emphasis here. Okay, you're throwing him a short hop, you're shooting him a short hop out of the machine. He's working the glove back up to the middle. Again, this would be a great drill after you do the Indian club because it re-emphasizes the same move that the Indian club was emphasizing earlier. Just another drill to dominate the bottom of the zone in these stances. Let's talk about some blocking work that we can go through before a game, pre-practice, or in a drill setting during practice. This is what we call a roll drill. So right now, the one on the left side that's rolling, they have 2 knees down. All we have is our glove up. We're just working to get that glove flipped over, and the partner's trying to beat him. They're going back and forth, glove up, back and forth, trying to beat him 5-hole. You can go side to side with this. You can mix in different angles. For time's sake, I'm just showing you one down the middle. The one on our right-hand side up here, now they go to a right knee down stance, like they would if runners were on base. Again, we're just shooting the hand right here, flipping the glove over, feeling our chest down, seeing that ball roll into the mitt, not getting beat in the 5-hole. Quick hands. Again, no full block yet. We're working more catch, 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 block, feeling that glove flip over, and being able to control the baseball. So this is a block and hold drill. So I'm just throwing it. Again, we have 3 catchers. This is a practice setting. They're blocking. They're feeling where the ball hits them, seeing the ball hit the ground, and they're not moving until I say go. So this is what we call go blocks. So they block, go. Now he gets up. He's recovering like he's going to second base. Again, this is a great drill for guys that don't have body control because now they have to pause and feel where it's hitting them. Now they can get up and go, ball on the ground, ready to throw to second base. Rapid fire drill. So we're going 3 in a row here. He's going to recover the third like he's going to third or second base. Again, we always want to have somewhere in there where we recover because the block's not done until we recover. Because I ask our guys all the time, what's a good block? And they all say, hey, it hits me right here, it hits me right in the belly button, I kill it right, and then no. There's one way to say it. Is it a good block or is it not? Does a runner advance? Doesn't matter how pretty it is, doesn't matter how ugly it is. Does he advance or does he not? If he doesn't, it's a good block. Okay, that's our job, is to keep him from getting 90 feet. So as we do this recover drill at the third one, he's working throw to second base. Again, this just helps on stance movement and feeling where the ball's hitting it. Let's get to transfer and throwing. Rapid fire, so we got to have quick hands. We always want to start with our hand segments. We always have to be good being able to transfer the ball. We can't do anything with the baseball until it's in our bare hand. No matter if that's a recover, no matter if that's a transfer. So we want to have really quick hands, but efficient hands to be able to get the ball to our bare hand. We want to feed the bare hand. We don't want to flip to the bare hand, we want to feed the bare hand. Notice we're not taking the ball to the ear. Okay, we want to do it right here in front, go get it. We can see what happens in front of us. Well, if I rip up to the ear to transfer, now I have to have a long arm, my arm has to catch up, and I can't see what's happening up here. I want to do it right here in front, nice quick hands. Now we go back to the heavy ball. We're overload training. We overload bats, let's overload the glove. So now we want to feel the glove speed, being able to control that 11-ounce ball. Okay, we had that earlier in receiving, let's reuse it now to transfer drills. Same thing, he's just transferring it. We're on 2 knees, we're not worried about the lower half at all. We're just feeding the bare hand with the heavy ball. Now we can go med balls. So the guy on the left, I'm rolling it to him. He's feeling that right foot getting the ground as quick as possible. Getting up to a good, powerful stance to be able to throw. Now we work in med ball slams. So we don't have the luxury, which I'll show you here in a second, as catchers to crow hop, to shuffle. So we really have to load our back hip. Have to be efficient, be able to throw off of that back hip, loading through the ground. So here he gets up, right foot the ground, feels his back hip loaded to be able to throw that med ball down. Again, once you get into this drill, you go side to side, roll it to different angles. Now they have to wait on it and be really quick and stay in a powerful position. It's a back hip load drill. So again, I'm talking how we don't have time to shuffle and crow hop like other positions on the field. We have to really load our backside. And in order to do that, we have to be able to get up and get that right foot in the ground as quick as possible. Okay, no matter if we're in a knee down stance or we're in a traditional 2 feet stance, we want to get that right foot in the ground as quick as possible. In order to do that, we say flamingo drill where they get up and they just have to stand there for a 3 count. Get that right foot in the ground. Now what you'll see when you do this drill is people will jump. Okay, a jumper out will try to do this and then float and not be able to hold it for 3 seconds. So we want to have good balance as we get to this drill. This is a full machine progression. I'll let it run as I'm talking about it. So they're going 2 reps here in and out. The first one is 2 knees, just transfers right here in front as they're doing. They're on 2 knees, in and out. This is basically what we did earlier with the heavy ball. Just transfer, feed the bare hand. They get 2 reps. Next time through, we call this the cheat. So now they start to cheat the shoulders as the ball comes. As the ball comes, we hear runner. We start to cheat the shoulder towards second base to be able to rip the ball. Okay, this is like the side saddle when people used to say, hey, offset your feet with the runner at first base in a 2 feet stance. Now we're knee down, we have to cheat the shoulders. So that's what they're working on here. Now, the last one, again, he bobbled that one, right? A little quick. The last time, we're just going full get up. So now we're thinking, hey, we're going to throw this guy out. Notice he's not worried about anything else. He's feeding the bare hand. We've already worked on the hands. We worked on the lower half. We built up to this progression. This is probably our most used machine progression because it incorporates hands, lower body, cheat, and a full get up to throw out the runner at second base. So again, we want our prep work to look like our game work. I'm big on progression drills. Okay, we want to train the same way, or train the movements that we're going to use in a game in practice. Whether that be glove action, whether that be getting to our feet. But I think when we're getting ready for a game or practice, we should let our players have some input on what they're working on. Okay, what they feel, what works, what doesn't work. And then by the time the season comes, now they have their pregame routine. Okay, just like a hitter would go to the cage and do the same thing to get ready to hit BP or go play a game, we want that as catchers. Okay, and so as we pull from the menu, we want them to write it out and have a clear plan of what they want. All right? That's all the time I have. Hopefully you guys can take some drills back. If not, I can send out that buffet anytime and talk through it at any point throughout the night or later in time. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to our hitting and infield coach, Matt Schilling.
Shoot, that was impressive, 20 minutes on the nose. Guys, let's talk hitting. Let's get rid of all of this other stuff and get to the serious stuff that everybody wants to hear about, okay? The topic I'm going to discuss is something I'm incredibly passionate about. We put a large emphasis on this at Coastal, and I'm going to encourage you guys to put a large emphasis on it in your program. But I will tell you that this is going to take a commitment from you guys and some serious organization to do it correctly, and get some results out of it, okay? So the first thing I want you to do, I just want you to watch these at-bats right here. Okay, so now it's going to repeat. We'll keep it going while I'm talking here. How many of you have hitters that perform like this and then come to you and say, Coach, what's wrong with my swing? It happens all the time. I'm coaching college guys. They do this and say, Coach, what's wrong with my swing? Coach, can we go to the cage? Can we get extra swings? Coach, what's wrong with my swing? Okay? Get this question all the time. What's wrong with his swing? Anybody know?
Swing decision.
Swing decisions, baby. There's nothing wrong with his swing. You're swinging at terrible pitches. Awful pitches. Okay? So it's an emphasis that we have to have on our hitters, because going to mechanics is always the fallback. Going to mechanics is always something's wrong with my swing. I got to go get a lesson. My dad's in the crowd telling me this. Guys, the majority of the problem is simply the pitches that guys are swinging at. Okay, so you're going to get that question quite a bit. So we have another saying that we use. What's the quickest way to be a better hitter? Swing at good pitches to hit. It's so obvious. It's so blatant. And yet for years, as a coach myself, working with hitters, I'm always talking about, shorten the swing, this mechanic, that mechanic, this. Just got to swing at better pitches. When you're in the cage and you are throwing pitches to your hitters, are you throwing them balls? Or are you setting the machine up, throwing strikes? Okay? Most guys are hitting in the general area right here. Okay? We all get good at hitting baseballs in this general area. And then we get into the game and we chase sliders in the dirt, we chase fastballs up here, we chase pitches out off the edge of the plate. Okay? It is so blatantly obvious, and yet it is not emphasized enough by most coaches. And in return, our players always go back to the crutch of something's wrong mechanically. Now, you can take a player with an average swing, but great swing decisions, he's going to hit really good. You can take a player who's a great athlete, has a good swing, great bat speed, and he swings at crap, and he's not going to be a very good hitter. Okay? That's just the facts of the matter. So swing decisions, what does it do for you? Okay? I only put a few bullet points on here, but it's endless what it does for you. Swinging at good pitches gives you the best chance to hit the ball hard, gives you the chance to make a lot of contact. There's a lot of complaining about Major League Baseball guys are striking out too much. Well, part of the reason guys are striking out is because the pitcher's stuff is ridiculous, okay, and hitters are undisciplined. What's that mean? It means you make bad swing decisions. Eliminating chases makes the pitcher pitch on the plate. Okay? Our pitching coach, Coach Williams, is constantly, one of the first things he said when he got the job was, our pitchers have to be able to pitch on the plate. Our pitchers have to be able to pitch on the plate. We have to develop their stuff so they can pitch on the plate. Because he knows quality hitters aren't going to fetch after things off the plate. And when you get to the higher levels and you get into the regionals and suddenly the strike zone shrinks even more, okay? As pitchers, you better be able to pitch on the plate because the hitters won't chase it, okay? So as coaches, we must emphasize to our guys swing decisions and repeat that with them constantly. All hitters practice hitting pitches on the plate. You want to hit good, it's because you always practice those. You set up the tee, it's in a good area to hit, okay? This ultimately is going to increase your production, it's going to increase your on-base percentage, it's going to increase your slug, and it's going to increase your average, amongst other things. You'll also drive up the opponent's pitcher's pitch count. You can get him out of the game sooner, get into the bullpen. Okay? Guys in the bullpen are there because they're not as good as the guys that are starting. So, this is where the commitment comes from you guys. Now, Coach, one of our coaches earlier mentioned, hey, we've got 10 managers and this and that. And I really, truly believe, as I look around the room, that you're here because you're committed. You should be able to find players that you cut from the team, kids that just want to be a part of what you're doing. They can come out and be managers and help you. Maybe you have a coach that you trust that can sit in the stands and do this. Or maybe, God forbid, you have a parent who can sit in the stands and do this. I know that gets a little sketchy, okay? How do we monitor it? We do it with this chart, which you guys can't really see very well. If you send me an email, I would be happy to send it to you, okay? This is our swing decision chart, and we have a manager who sits and watches behind home plate every game and rates guys, and then he'll go back and watch the film. We're fortunate we have film. So every single pitch that our players see, they get rated on. They get a grade, okay? So let me speak up a little bit as I step out. You guys can't see it. This first column, and guys, this is an Excel spreadsheet, and I've got it fully automated, okay? And if you want, send me the email. I'll just send you the freaking Excel spreadsheet, okay? The first column up top, good swing, good take, bad swing, bad take. And then over here in this column, I've got all of the counts that you could possibly see. And so let's say we've got an 0-0 pitch and the pitcher throws a fastball up and away for a ball, and we choose not to swing. That's a good take, okay? Now let's say it's 1-0 and the pitcher throws a really good breaking ball for a called strike. Good take or bad take? It's a good take. That goes in the good take. Because we probably shouldn't be sitting on a 1-0 curveball, okay? So that goes in there. Now the next pitch is another curveball in the dirt out of the zone. We swing and miss. That's a bad swing decision. Okay? Maybe the next pitch, same thing. Bad swing decision. Okay? So we fill this out, and because I have it set up in Excel, it tabulates all of it. Okay? So for this particular hitter, this is from our fall season, this particular hitter saw 6 total pitches. He made 3 good decisions. So his good decision rating is 50%, which is terrible. Okay? And his result was a strikeout. Okay? So now you can start tracking these things, and you will be amazed at the trends that you will find in and amongst your hitters. Okay? So now this is from the regional this past year. We've got an 0-0 count. All right? We're facing a subby. We want to be aggressive to this guy. Boom! Okay? That ball is way out of there. All right? His father is actually in the back of the room. Look at him. He's got a camera up, embarrassing back there. Ben, how are you? Good to see you again. All right? This is what it should look like. This is a first pitch. 0-0. What are you sitting on? 0-0. Should be looking for a fastball middle. On top of it, our scouting report on this guy was he's going to be around the zone. We got a left-handed hitter with a righty subby. We want to be aggressive. First pitch. You don't need to wait. You don't need to take 2 or 3 pitches to see him. You should be doing that on deck, which Coach Oxendine touched on earlier, so that when you get in the box, you are ready to pull the trigger. So that's a good swing decision. That's a little definition for the good swing decision. Good swing decision is swinging at a pitch that you are looking for in the zone you are looking for, or swinging at a pitch you have to swing at. 2 strikes, the guy throws a strike. You have to swing at that. That's how you get a good swing decision. Next is a good take decision. Here's a 2-0 count slider. It's a strike, but he took it. Okay? Here's 3-1, fastball up and in. Not a good pitch to hit. He takes it for a ball. Okay? That's a 2-0 count, dotted on the outside corner. Now we're back to the top. There's the 2-0 slider. That's a great take. Okay? Good take decision. 3-1 fastball up and in. Great take. 2-0, well located, dotted on the outside corner. That's a good take. That's what we would consider a good take. All right? If it's a ball and you take it, obviously that's rated a good take. If it's a strike, that's not what you're looking for in the zone you're looking for, you should take it. Okay? Next, we have bad swing decisions. Here's all 3-1 counts. 3-1, we're sitting dead red fastball. He chases a curve. 3-1 again, breaking ball out of the zone. Bad swing decision. 3-1 again, he fetches after a loopy slider and he pops it up. Okay, now it's going to cycle through one more time. These are all 3-1 counts. We want our hitters looking to attack the fastball in this situation. All 3 of these were bad swing decisions, and 2 of them resulted in strikes, and 1 of them resulted in an out. Why? Not because there was something wrong with his swing, simply made a bad decision in the batter's box for what he was swinging. Next is the bad take. Okay? This is 2-0, 2-0 count, 2 runners on, there's 1 out, okay? And the guy throws a fastball right down the middle, left on right. 2-0 count, there's 1 out. I mean, we're looking to do damage here, right? This is a horrible take. This is a bad take, okay? Looking at a pitch right down the middle in this situation, okay? And all of this can be put on that chart, okay? And again, you're going to find patterns in your hitters, and you can help them improve simply by making better swing decisions. All right, so this chart, and again, if you're in the back, you might not be able to see it, but this chart is every pitch our guys saw this fall and how they performed. All right, so our goal, first and foremost, is for our hitters to have an 87% or better good decision rating. Okay, we want to have a good decision rating of 87% or better. So the guys above this gray down here, those are the guys that met the goal. The guys down below are the guys that fell short of the goal. Okay, so this first guy, okay, Caden Bodine, all right, you heard Coach talk about him earlier. This is from Baseball America, drafting the best college tools, best pure hitter in here, Caden Bodine. Well, this is our swing decision chart. It's not shocking to me that Caden Bodine has a 92.9 good decision rating. Why is he a good hitter? Guys, I'm not gonna lie. He's got tremendous eye-hand coordination. He has a knack for finding the barrel, all of that. But you know what he's really, really good at? Swinging at the correct pitches he should be swinging at. All right? You can see he's rated, what is he, projected to be the 7th pick in the mock draft coming up. The other guy on here, okay, he's in 3rd place, is Blake Barthol. Okay, he's at 91%. Okay, last year he was National Player of the Week 1 week. He hit 7 home runs in 1 week. Okay, he was a freshman All-American. Both of these guys came into our program together. Caden has been excellent with his swing decisions since day 1. Blake is a guy who's gotten better at it as he goes. It's, again, something that we emphasize and stress to our guys constantly. Now, I want to show you this in the green. This column here, we have Chase Plus, okay? And what I call Chase Plus is when you flat out chase a pitch out of the zone, or you swing at a pitch that is in the zone, but it's not a good pitch to hit. Okay, so those are our Chase Plus. So we have a young man down here, okay, down towards the bottom, left-handed hitter, incredibly talented, ton of power, hits the ball hard, had a horrible fall for us. A horrible fall for us, okay? He had 29 Chase Pluses this fall, all right? The next closest guy, I think, had like 13, okay? He had 29. And he wants to constantly work on his swing mechanics, okay? He doesn't need to work on it, he does, but he'll be a lot more successful with his swing if he just swings at better pitches to hit, okay? So overall, he was only 82% on the entire fall, all right? So we are able to show this to every one of our hitters. This gets emailed out to them every Monday. They get the report. They know where they stand. And believe it or not, guys, what happens when you hold them accountable to this, and we try to hold them accountable during BP, when we're in the cage, we're always on them about swinging at strikes, laying off balls, swinging at good pitches to hit. And what you will find is guys will start taking more pride in it. Okay? You'll start hearing them talking about it around the cage, and you will become a better offense because you get more guys on base. You get more guys on base, you're going to score more runs. So this is an inning at a recent inter-squad. That's ball one. This is against our ace, our Friday night guy. It's 93-95 for the slider. So first pitch was a ball. 1-0, bang, 108-mile-an-hour line drive. Next guy up, looks at a cock shot. Then swings at a slider, then chases a slider. 3 pitches, he's out. 3 horrible decisions. 1 bad take and 2 chases. Next guy comes up, jumps out of the way. We have a rule. Stay in there, roll, let the ball hit you. So it should be first and second, okay? Now this next guy comes up. He's been in our system for 3 years now. He makes 5 great swing decisions. He lays off a ball, lays off a 1-0 slider, and then you'll see the rest of his at-bat is ball, ball, ball. He walks, okay? So now we should have bases loaded, 1 out. And keep in mind, that 1 out was a guy who stared at a fastball right down the middle on the first pitch. So worst case scenario, we just make good decisions. We're bases loaded, 1 out. Instead, because we made bad decisions, we're 2 outs, 2 on. A lot easier for that pitcher to get out of the jam. Okay? And that's against a Friday night quality arm, when all we really are looking for is some good decisions in the box. You make good decisions against quality arms, especially early before they settle in, you've got a chance to do some damage against those guys. Okay? Next. Guys, this is what it should look like. Breaking ball, spit, 2, 1-0. Breaking ball, spit, 2, 2-0. This is against Southern Miss's Friday guy. 2-0, you work to get to that fastball, bang, you put that swing on it. Okay? That right there is what it's supposed to look like. If you can get your hitters to buy in to making good swing decisions and you can hold them accountable, it's going to be amazing what your offense can do. And guys, you don't need superstars to do it. You need guys who can hit pitches right here. And if they can't hit pitches right here, guys, lacrosse is a growing sport. Is there any questions before I turn it over? No? All right, like I said, guys, shoot me an email and I will send you that spreadsheet so that you guys can implement it into your programs, okay? Next up. Matt Williams pitching. The bad guys. Yes. Thanks.
Hey guys, very, very fortunate to be here for the 2nd year in a row. I will tell you, last year I got a lot of questions about the core velocity belt. So I'm going to spend a lot of time on the core velocity belt today. How many of you guys know what the core velocity belt is first? All right, very valuable tool for you, especially if you don't know anything about pitching. All right, you can put your pitchers in really good spots by moving it in different directions. and make them, force them to throw strikes. All right, it'll help you a ton. If you don't have one, I would insist on buying it. All right. The core velocity belt, it allows the athlete to be the athlete. How many of you guys go down to the bullpen and you have pitchers that just start thinking? I got them. Come on. Let's just see more hands than that. All right, like when they start thinking, they start getting in trouble. All right. So what this does, what this belt does, it allows you to eliminate thinking. It allows pitchers to just move. All right. Next thing, it helps you understand using the ground. Coach Mills talked earlier about using the ground a little bit. All right, we'll dive more into that throughout this slideshow. It also helps you understand your middle. All right, what I mean by that is your pelvis. All right, it helps you understand the middle. Also here, it allows you as a coach, and it allows the athlete to kind of experiment with different angles. And you'll see that as we go through it tonight. What we tend to do a lot of is we'll go 2 reps with the belt on, 1 with the belt off. All right, so basically it'll be a dry throw without the belt on, okay, or the cord on. All right. You can see right there, you can do this a lot. It's not really taxing on the arm. We have guys that, all of our guys will do it at least twice a week. We have some guys that do it daily. All right, and when I say daily, they won't do it the day after they pitch. All right, so every day but the day after they pitch. This video I'll play, you can see the cord. All right, so what it does, it has 3 loops on each side. All right, you have a hook at the top, a hook in the middle, and a hook at the bottom on each hip. All right, this one here, the cord is attached to the top hook on his back hip. If you'll watch our guy here, watch his first move. If you watch his first move and then watch his back leg and his back foot, all right, it's not really stable. All right, this is not a good rep, okay? Watch his back foot when he lifts. He doesn't have connection with the ground, his heel pops up. All right, we want to make sure we have connection to the ground. All right, that also leads to him going to the toe. He pushes out of his backside, and you can see he actually gets across his body. All right. Same guy here. Cord is still attached to the back hip. You can see we're behind him here. All right, in a direct line. Still, the first move. The first move is not good. Watch the heel pop. Goes to the toe. He pushes across his body. Same guy here, we changed directions here. The cord is actually hooked to the bottom of his back hip. So the bottom hook, the first move is not good. The cord pulls him, and he doesn't maintain his middle. The first move is bad again. He's going across his body. This is a freshman. All right, so here the cord is attached to the front hip on the bottom. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to force him to stay in the ground. He still struggles with this. All right, next guy here. You can see as this guy drops into his back leg, he goes to his toe early. And Coach Mills talked about it earlier. Watch the knee here. The knee's going to kick towards the third base dugout. All right, and what that sets him up to do is be super rotational. All right? So he goes to the toe, knee kicks, and he actually cuts this fastball. All right, I'll tell you, he's a guy that actually has tremendous carry to his fastball. All right, he came back from break. This is what it looked like. He's throwing 89 miles an hour with 14 induced vertical break. 2 horizontal, that's basically a cutter. All right, he's throwing a cutter. All because of his first move, his back foot goes to the toe, knee kicks, he rotates. So this is a freshman too, and I will tell you, he's pretty smart. All right, he picks it up pretty quick. He said, hey, we need to get some core velocity belt going because he hadn't had it for the last month being at home. All right, he gets it going. You see now the foot actually holds the ground. The cord is actually on the back side for you guys on the top loop. He holds the ground. He maintains that knee. It turns over. He's a lot stronger here. Look at his direction. It's cleaned up. So here, we've attached the cord to the bottom front hip. Watch the first move again. The foot will be stable here. This angle will force him to stay in the ground longer, all right? So he was going to his toe earlier. This angle is going to force him to keep the whole foot, all right, the whole foot in the ground. Yep. See that back foot? Back foot's important. If you screw up the back foot, you're going to screw up the chain. All right? First move is very important. The cord is attached to the bottom of the back hip here. You can see I really zoned in right here on his foot. The first move's good. There's a stable back foot. This angle forces him to stay in the ground, as you can see there. It also resists for early rotation. All right, so we've got two cords set up here. You also, when you buy this set, you get a black cord. I tend to use the blue cord because they actually give you a little bit more pull. The black cord is a little bit lighter. All right? So we've got two cords here, cord attached to the bottom of the back hip and the front of the top hip. All right, these angles force the guy to stay in the ground longer, and it also helps us stay closed longer. The belt on this side over here is trying to pull him open. So we're forcing him to stay closed longer here. All right, so this is his next bullpen. All right, pretty good aptitude here. We take him to the bullpen, and now you see him dropping his leg. The back foot stays in the ground longer. The knee does not kick towards the third base dugout. He rotates. He's back up to 91 miles an hour. The fastball has 21 inches of induced vertical break and 8 horizontal. What that is that's tremendous carry through the zone. He's going to get a lot of swing and misses, and Coach Schilling is going to be frustrated when he throws him right down the middle. All right, next one, we have the guy, he attaches it to the front hip, the bottom link. Watch his toe here. Watch his big toe. Pops up, and then it goes back down. Not terrible, but not where we want to be. You'll see in the next video, he keeps the foot down, and watch his tempo. His tempo increases. This angle will help the guy sit into his leg. You see him get a sit there? This next one will be a little bit better. Same attachment. We're at the bottom, pulling him in that direction. Watch the foot stay in the ground here. He tends to move a little bit faster, gets into his legs a little bit better. He's also got a stable front side. See how stable that front side is there? Another freshman here. We got the same angle as we had as the first guy. Back hip, top. Watch his first move. It's a stable back foot. All right, this guy's got a little bit of advantage. He was a shortstop in high school. All right, he's a freshman, very athletic. All right, extremely efficient mover. Now with that behind angle, we're still attached to the top. Once again, stable back foot, efficient mover. All right, the cord's attached to the back hip, the bottom hook. Once again, stable foot. All right, so you might ask, why are we changing directions? All right, anybody know why we change directions, or anybody think they know why we change directions here? What do you, balance? Okay, yeah, that. We're challenging the foot in different directions. All right? We want to make sure they get that whole foot in the ground because I think Coach Mills mentioned earlier, like a lot of guys wanted to go to the toe. He mentioned going to the heel. I want the whole foot. All right? I don't want to be an extreme. All right, here you can watch his foot. This is a rep with no belt. See who will play for us. All right, we'll skip that one. Core velocity belt and plyo throws. All right, we started doing this a lot more since they've gotten back from break. We got one guy we're really doing a lot with. We'll work two different angles, challenging the foot here, challenging him to stay closed, but also stay grounded. All right. You'll see his middle really get challenged here. All right, I will tell you, this guy changed his fastball quality. Matt Pepin will get into that a little bit later. His fastball was kind of dead zone when he got here, and now he carries the fastball. All right, the cord is connected to the bottom front hip. He's doing what they call a Darvish drill. All right, if you watch his back foot, it's stable. All right, but if you watch his direction, he loses his middle a little bit. As he goes to the plate, watch his middle just kind of fold. If he has baseball pants on, it's easier to see. I would encourage you guys, when you're doing these drills, make sure you put them in baseball pants. When you're throwing bullpens, make sure you're doing it in baseball pants because you can see a lot more. You can see the belt. But he kind of folds and loses it a little bit right there. This angle will challenge the guy to stay into his, or stay closed. Also helps him learn how to get into his legs a little more. All right, so we'll change direction with this. So he'll make one throw with a plyo ball, then we'll go to this direction. We'll go back and forth.
What weight plyo you got to use?
We go up to 10 ounces. 10 ounces as high as we go. We go 3.5, yeah, 3.5, 5, 7.5, 10. And he'll do this the whole time with all his balls. All right. Right here, you can see the lack of control with the middle. He gets slightly, he's using a line right there to see where he lands as a reference point. He gets slightly across his body right there. All right, but we're challenging him on each one, and we're going side to side, challenging the foot on each throw. All right, here, same connection here, bottom front hip. All right, this will be a hover drill. A lot of times you'll see the hover drill done right here, and then a guy will go. All right, with him, we're really trying to work the middle, so we add the hover drill with the leg lift. All right, you can see the backside is stable. The direction is good here. He actually does a slightly better job with the middle of his body here. All right, he doesn't dump the pelvis as much in this video. All right, if we can get him to do this one more often, he's going to be really good. You guys see that middle? All right, the other direction. That direction challenges him a little bit. Watch how the back foot works also. He does a pretty good, he's a guy that struggles. He wants to go to the toe. All right, he has tremendous ankle mobility, all right, but he still wants to go to his toe, okay? The belt forces him to stay in the ground a little bit longer. All right, here, you can see what I mean here. You see how this guy goes to the toe over here on the left. 2022, that was the velocity, 87 to 91. All right, bad quality fastball also. Okay, that guy got hit a lot. Okay, Look at the way the ankle works here, the foot works here, the way it rolls over. 2024, the velocity was 93, 96, and a very good fastball. You got a ton of swing and miss. All right? That's it for me. I will tell you once again, very valuable. I think it's about $350. Look it up. Good tool to have. I'll turn it over to Matt Pepin.
All right, I know analytics can be a pretty scary word, especially nowadays, right? A lot of people say analytics is ruining the game, and I think that's a lot of misuse of what people say about it. But in my opinion, and I think our whole staff's opinion, analytics is just information. All of our coaches today have talked a lot about analytics without you guys even knowing. Starting with Coach Oxendine, he slipped in earlier. Our goal during batting practice is a 10 to 30 launch angle. That's because in college baseball, the best results happen between 10 and 30 degrees, right? We track how much spin is on each batted ball. We determined 77% of balls at the left field have right-handed slider spin. That's also analytics. And going on to Coach Schilling's swing decision chart, that's just a student manager tracking with pen and paper swing decisions. So we're using analytics even without expensive systems and a TrackMan like we're fortunate enough to have in Coastal Carolina. But today I'm going to dive into fastball quality specifically on what Matt Williams was talking about, going on some of our TrackMan numbers and the metrics that we use at Coastal to evaluate our players. So when we're looking at a fastball, we're looking at four main factors. One is velocity. Obviously, velocities matter. Velocity is key. Coastal goes 90 plus miles an hour. Once we get to 95 is when we really see a real takeoff in results. Next is break. Break's going to be the most important thing I talk about here today. We can have a fastball with less velocity if our break is good and consistent to get hitters out. Release point is also key. The more unique, the better. And I'll touch on that in just a minute a little more. But if we have a guy with a low 3/4 arm slot, subby, right over top with some cut, all these things are different factors that help our fastball perform above what their velocity may be. And then last is extension. Extension, how close to home plate are we releasing the ball? The further our extension is, the faster our pitch looks. We have a guy throwing 88, 7-foot extension, it looks more like 90. But a key there is we never want to force extension. We got some guys, some young pitchers, they hear extension, they try and jump off the mound. We want to do our extension naturally. So as I get into the numbers here, these are the four main things I'm looking at, and Matt Williams is looking at when we're getting our stuff good enough to play over the plate and not needing to rely on chases out of the strike zone. Number one metric when we're looking at fastball is induced vertical break. It's kind of a big word, sometimes pretty tough to understand, but all it's saying is how much carry it has on the fastball if there was no gravity. So 22 plus, 22 inches, that is an elite fastball. If you guys have a Rapsodo unit, TrackMan portable, this is a good chart to determine what's a good fastball and what's a poor one on average. So with 22 inches of vertical break, hitters hit 192 throughout all of college baseball. It's millions of pitches over the past few years. Then 32% whiff rate, extremely high, but low ground ball rate. Guys with elite carry on their fastballs get a lot of pop-ups, weak fly balls. As we go down the list, it gets much worse. 10 to 13, 13 to 16 is what we consider dead zone. That's what a batting practice fastball looks like. Those pitches often get hammered, and we want to stay out of that average zone. And then as we go back down to the 1 to 4 and 0 range, those are really good sinkers or two-seam fastballs. They get a lot of whiffs and ground balls. So when we're developing our pitching staff, especially early in the fall, we want to make sure every single pitcher is out of that dead zone range. If we can get them to ride the ball, great. Sink the ball, great. As long as we're outside of the middle, that's our goal. So in order to do this, we're looking at a few different factors. Spin rate. Everyone likes to talk about spin rate. The truth with spin is we really can't fix a guy. If it's good, it's good. If it's poor, it's poor. We really need to lean into what they already do. Other than sticky stuff, you're not really going to change how a guy spins the baseball. Tilt out of the hand, right? 12 o'clock right over top, 3 o'clock to the side, it's going to be easier for a guy on the side to throw a sinker, easier for a guy over top to throw a four-seam. We're honestly looking for guys that can throw four-seams from here and sinkers from here, because that's unique. As unique as we can possibly be, we want to be able to do that and trick hitters. And then most importantly, by far, which goes to a lot of what Matt was talking about with the core velocity belt, spin efficiency. Hear all the time, get through the ball or you cut it, right? We don't want the ball to spin on the side. We want to get through the baseball so it's harder, more accuracy, and better movement. This video on the bottom here shows a fastball from 48% efficiency to 100. 100 means we're 100% behind the baseball. It's rotating full backspin. See how it takes off, goes up and arm side? That's because it has good movement. A guy that cuts the baseball just kind of spins into the middle of the strike zone. That's when we get into a little bit of trouble. We want to stay away from those balls in the middle and have those balls that get true ride on it, true carry. Ways we do this, having a good body, being mobile, being on time with our hands, and there are also various tools out there that have helped certain guys. Clean Flaco is a good one. Even a baseball with a line down the middle. If your line is spinning true, you have good spin efficiency on your fastball. Here's an example of best fastball on our team. 94 plus, 22 inches of vertical break, 7-foot extension. This is what it looks like. See how it doesn't really drop at all? Every swing and miss he gets, they're under the ball. He's tricking their eyes to thinking the ball is going to drop, but it never drops. And his 7-foot extension makes that 94 look like 97. When he touches 97, it looks more like 100 because how much on top he is. He's got a little bit of a higher release height, but he gets so much carry that it plays up significantly. Next is another example, Colton McKay. Schill had a few videos of him earlier. He's a guy, he's right over top, has a lot of ride on his fastball, short stride, short extension, and he pitches down to the zone pretty often, very effectively. So when this hitter took strike 3 down the middle, he said literally, it looks like it's going to hit the plate. That's because he gets ride from up top. Justin Verlander does the same thing. It looks like it's going to hit the ground, but it holds the ground because of how much ride it has. So that's another fastball type that we really like to have, and we like to live low in the zone, but can also pitch up later in the count for potential swing and miss. Here's a freshman right here. He came in throwing almost all sinkers. He's got a low release height. He gets a lot of run and sink on his fastball. We recently had a four-seam fastball because he showed us he can actually carry it from a low slot. So you'll see this is the first at-bat of a game from a left-handed hitter. 2 strikes, sinker down and away, strike 3. All right, later in that same game against the same hitter, he gets 2 strikes again. All right, that's first at-bat. Second at-bat, he goes fastball up. 17 inches of difference in terms of break. It's a completely different look at the same velocity, and as a result, he gets 2 swing and misses, 2 strikeouts, and that hitter's pretty confused with what he just saw. And the last video I got there is to a right-handed hitter. Generally speaking, sinkers from a righty play really well to a right-handed hitter. So if we have a four-seam up in the zone, that can help us beat lefties more than he might have without having that four-seam fastball. Another guy, same example. This is Darren Horn. He led the NCAA in whiff percentage in 2023 on his sinker. I had Paul Skeens, Rhett Lauder, some obviously ridiculous names on that list. Darren came in throwing a four-seam. Switched him over to a sinker. It's one of the best sinkers in college baseball. This first pitch right here is an elite sinker, has -6 inches of vertical break. Right? It looks like a curveball from a left-handed pitcher. We recently just added a four-seam fastball that has just 15 inches of carry. See that chart over there? 15 says bad. But because of how much sink his sinker gets, his 2-seam fastball, that 4-seam up in the zone unlocks a lot of different things we can do, especially against left-handed hitters who traditionally he hasn't done as well with. So that 4-seam fastball will really help us out in opening up his pitch mix. He might be able to go a little bit longer in the games, and he'll be better versus both lefties and right-handed pitchers. Right-handed hitters, sorry. So this last type of fastball I'll talk about is the cut ride. This is the most rare type of fastball. We got a guy who's right over top, and he cuts the ball just a little bit. So he gets a little bit of carry, 18 to 19 inches, but he also gets cut, 0, -2, -4, horizontal. There's two different options we have with him. You can coach it out of him to throw a straight fastball, which I think a lot of people would do, or you can let him ride with his strengths, right? It's a very unique fastball that lefties struggle with because it's coming into them. So we obviously let it ride out, let it play out, and it's a really good pitch to both lefties and righties. It's moving away from righties with ride and moving into lefties. So it's been pretty effective so far early in the spring. Last thing, this is a picture from last year. 92 miles an hour, not too bad. That's what we're looking for velocity-wise. He's got an average 3/4 arm slot. He doesn't extend very much. He's got a very flat fastball, very dead zone. 15 inches of vertical break, 14 inches of horizontal break. It's obviously not a great location either, but it's a 418-foot home run over the center field wall to give them the lead. It was a tie game at the time. This is last week. He's only throwing 88 miles an hour. Obviously, we want that to be better. Made some adjustments to get his arm more on time, mostly with his posture. He's more upright. Now it's 21-8. Similar location, a little more outside. He gets a swing and miss. And if you don't believe it, if you think that hitter was better than this one, here's the stats to prove it. Throughout all of college baseball, Division I, that 88 mile an hour fastball is actually slightly better than that 92. But our goal for him is obviously not to throw slower, it's to throw that 92 again with that break, and that becomes one of the better fastballs in college baseball, even at 92 miles an hour because of how good that break is. That's all I've got for you guys today. That's wrapping it up for our program. Feel free to take a picture here. We got all our emails, numbers. If you guys need any more information, want to come by Springsbrook Stadium, we'd love to have you guys out for practice or a game this spring as we get going on February 14th against St. Joe's. Thank you guys.